All right, so here we have the piece we're gonna be doing today. Basically, the pretty cool thing about Affinity is that you can divide your artworks using artboards, and that's something we're gonna be using today. I already have the whole process here because, you know, as always, in every session we don't have time to go over it completely, and I'm just gonna be showing you some of the little details so you see what are we gonna be learning today in this session. We're gonna start with a sketch and then build up our piece until having something three-dimensional, something that has a bit of life and a bit of groove. All right, so let's go back to the beginning. Okay, so as always, we're gonna start sketching our piece. This is always the first step and you have to do it really roughly. So as you know, Affinity has basically two modes. One is the pixel mode, as you can see up in the left corner. And also you've got this one that is the raster mode, pixel mode as well. And then you've got the export mode that today we won't be touching. I'm also gonna show you how to create an artboard and how to multiply the artboard. So let's zoom out for a little while and then we're gonna see what happens here. So basically you can go up here and you can tap on artboards, and here you can just add a new one. By default, it's just gonna add the same kind of artboard you set in the beginning of the program when you open the file. So let's step back because we won't be needing that. And let's go to the first artboard, and I'm gonna show you, as I said before, how to start sketching our piece. All right, so for now, the colors are not really important. So just, you know, you can get some darker tone, whatever it might be, black, as I'm gonna be using now. And then here we have all the brushes. You're gonna see that natively in Affinity you've got from basic to some acrylics, dry media, inks, markers, pencils. You know, for the sake of the exercise, let's go to pencils and let's choose one of these native pencils Affinity has. For now, I'm gonna be using, let's say, the rough graphite. So basically what I'm gonna do in this exercise is I'm gonna start sketching one letter, and I'm gonna build it up until we get the final result, but with just one letter, so we can actually see the results. So let's say we want to do an O. This is gonna be our letter. And what I'm gonna do here is to transfer this layer inside each artboard we are actually painting on. Make sure you have the move tool selected. Let's move it here. And now I'm gonna be showing you how to do some of these guidelines. Let's add a new vector layer. Also, let's bring down the opacity of this O so it doesn't bother us. Select the vector mode, select the square tool. You can bring down the opacity, maybe change the color so it's not that black. And now basically we're just gonna rotate it and place it like that. Then the next thing I want to do is to actually put an ellipse, a little circle that's gonna be telling us where the little thin strokes are gonna be at. Tap once, and basically that's just gonna restrain your circle. Okay, so let's say select the circle and put it down here. Okay, maybe you can change the color, something like that, so at least it's a bit different than the line. So basically, as you can see, that's what I pretty much did up here. Okay, so since we are moving on to the next artboard, and I don't want to bring a lot of layers because I'm just showing you guys the process. We're just gonna erase these two things, and I'm just gonna bring the O into the next step. All right, now that we have the O here, what we're gonna do is to make it a bit cleaner, so later on it's gonna be easier for us to actually know where the curves are. Let's then add another vector layer, choose the pen tool, and add a line like this. Click on edit mode if you wanna move this thing around. Let's say that's all right. Go to the curve, tap on this button up, and duplicate. Select the move tool and bring it down. Also, you can maybe add more. So basically, sometimes I just add this little one here, so we know, you know, where the letter is sitting at. That gives me a bit more sense of the whole style and how to actually make all the letters look alike. Do another new layer. Now we're gonna do a pixel layer, and we're gonna basically refine this sketch. That's gonna be done with my brushes, with the rough and raw. For this example, I use this charcoal one. You can find the stroke of the brushes down. So basically go to the width and select, let's say around 2.6, that's the thing. Okay. Regarding the color, bring the opacity up, put it black, go to the layer, make sure you have your brush selected, and let's do this cleaner. Bring it to the next artboard as before. I'm gonna be telling you how to use vector in this step, but we're gonna end up rasterizing the vector and going into the textures, because the end of this exercise is to have a raster file, because we're gonna be using textures anyways. So I'm just gonna show you really fast how to vector this thing. Let's start here by going up here and lock the layer. We're gonna be adding a new layer. This time it's gonna be a vector layer, as I said. And what we're gonna be doing is to grab the pen tool. Vectors are best when they're at 90 degrees. I wanna double tap every time I'm doing an anchor point. So now we're gonna go to the edit mode to move those that are not the way we wanted it. As you'll see here, you'll have a lot of options as well. You can modify your anchor points, you can add smooth points, you can join them. You can as well, by selecting, this one is one of my favorites, by selecting this one, it's basically gonna align each point to something near, you see? Like, so you'll get a little bit more control over it. Let's go up here and let's change the stroke for filling. And then we'll go up here, we'll click on add. Yeah, as you can see here, we have 3 different colors building up this 3D. And I wanted to show you how can you do that and how can you approach that. Okay, so select the layer, the curves, and then what you're gonna do here is to go up in the menu and duplicate the layer. Okay, so as I always wanna keep one of them just in case something happens, I'm gonna duplicate it once again, but this time, and with the selection tool selected all the time, just gonna zoom in a little bit, and we're gonna move it slightly, because now you're gonna see the technique I'm gonna be using. So move it slightly down That's gonna be enough. Now go up again and put duplicate. As you can see, this is now moving, right? Duplicate it, let's say around 8 times. The first one is gonna be on top, and let's just change the color. You can, you know, get whatever color you want. Let's use this blue. And then what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go in the menu up here, and we're gonna add those together. Now let's repeat the same steps. Now let's go up and let's choose another color. For that we can just go to the color wheel, or you have different sliders in Affinity Designer, and you can, you know, select what you like better. Into the right one, let's as well select another color. Move these vectors here, and now we're gonna see how to add this little shadow. Duplicate the layer that is hidden. Remember that we're always gonna keep one there just in case, and I'm probably gonna be using it after for one effect that I'm gonna show you. So basically, well, first change the color, duplicate it, let's say around 8 times here, and again add. I'm gonna bring the opacity down because they always look, as I said before, they always look great when they're just not that visible. And the last step I'm gonna do with the vectors, and now we're gonna switch to raster, is to basically go here and select the vector tool, select the pen, which is gonna have to erase a couple of the anchor points so it looks straighter and we cannot see that the blend we just done. So basically what we're gonna do here is we're gonna select again the pen tool, we're gonna go into edit mode, and we're basically gonna select few of those, go in the bottom left and click on the trash, and maybe, you know, move it a little bit so it looks better. That will do for now. And again, here you could be doing the same. As you can see here, I'm gonna already introduce the raster mode. You could keep doing this in vectors, but just for the sake of the exercise, it's much better to move into raster so you guys see a bit of everything here. Right now I'm just gonna be doing this little line in the middle, and for that, let's just go here. Let's go to these curves and rasterize each layer separately. So basically what we want to do here is to add this little line. We're going to be using the flood selection tool. Instead of this one, we're going to get into the outline selection tool. We're going to set the radius. Also, we want this to be inside of the shape. Let's say that 10 pixels is going to be fine. And then let's say that these are the little corners inside the letter. You're going to see that this is basically square-ish, and that the circular one is going to give us a better effect. So let's say that this is a good one. Let's tap on apply. Now we have this selected. What we could do is to add a new pixel layer and get the flood fill tool, select a color that we like. Can change this after, so don't be bothered by it so much. Open the group again, select the pixel, duplicate it. We're gonna go up here and click on merge selected. We're just gonna go up here. Let's change the color of this, and to do that we're gonna go here down to effects, choose a color overlay, and then you can click here, and then you can select the color. You could even get a color from our illustration and put it darker. Let's say something like that would be cool. Okay, now go back, and now what you want to do is to erase the parts that actually go outside the letter. Select the eraser and erase what we don't need. In here we're showing a little bit of a shadow in the background, and we're gonna show you how to do this effect. You remember that we saved a layer before. Alright, so now it's time to use it. Basically what we want to do is to add again a color overlay, something darker, and now let's do this blurry. Let's add some Gaussian blur, increment the radius. You can do this by tapping on the screen or tapping on the little panel down. Alright, let's leave it like that. Now here I basically did my own palette here, but since we're kind of comfortable with the colors we're using now, we're gonna move on to the textures pretty fast. Alright, so let's go here again, put this here, and now what we're gonna do basically is just to add a bit of depth and a bit of some nice and rich textures. For that, I'm just gonna change a little color that I just realized now that it's gonna be a little bit hard to texturize. So basically what we want to do now is to join these two layers, because we want to add the same shadow in the both of them. And for that, again, with two fingers, tap here, make a group, and actually just rasterize the group. Okay, so now that we are here, what we want to do is to start adding simple masks. So for that, we're gonna go into the plus, we're gonna add a pixel layer, we're gonna drag it right in the middle, and you see now it's it belongs to the pixel layer. So with this selected, we're gonna go here. We already have the fade and shade. Those are our latest Affinity brushes, and you can just mess around with them. They all offer realistic textures made out of real photos, and they're basically patterns that just repeat seamlessly. Alright, so for this exercise I'm gonna use the salt, which is one of the easiest brushes to use here. Right now we have this selected. It's a darker tone, something less dark. Make sure you have this layer selected on the brush, and just start adding some shadows. Actually, you'll have to make sure the direction of the light is correct. In this case, since we are dropping this shadow on the wall or on the floor in the left side, we're kind of saying that the light comes from the right top part of the artwork. So that's basically how we're gonna study our lights and shadows. And I'm just doing few of them, and now what I'm gonna do is to grab the erase tool and basically erase few of those, something like that. And that's gonna be it for the dark shadows. Let's go on to the lights. Let's select the white color, just go here into the plus sign, another pixel layer, and basically here, since we added a pixel layer on top of the other, it's already masking, so you don't have to do much. Just now add some white tones. If you think that the white tones are a bit harsh, you can select another color, or you can just, you know, go ahead and bring down the opacity, or maybe you can even try to go into the settings and try to, you know, you can play with those. You can add something. Sometimes these overlays work really good because you see it's acting on the blue tones as well, and you can go ahead and do the same with the shadows. All right, I'm pretty happy about that. Now let's add a fast shadow inside. For that, repeat the same steps. Go into the pixel, mask it, and choose one of those. I love this fiberglass. Now let's go into, I don't know, let's, you know, just play around with it a little bit. Let's go into that C-stone and see what this brings us. Okay, remember that if the textures are too big, you can always go to the brush settings and put them a little bit down. So for that, you tap on that, go here into texture, tap on the scale, and just add a bigger number. That's gonna bring your texture a little bit down. For this example, probably even we can do it even more. You can as well do it manually like this. Let's say 660. Yeah, I'm happy with this one. Get a pixel layer, put it masking, select a darker tone. For this, we're gonna make it darker so it gives a lot of contrast inside the letter. And start spraying it like before. I'm actually gonna add some lights into this line above, so we get some extra light. Again, do the same, select the salt, something whitish, mask it, and just spray it in the same parts where you did the lights inside. So let's say that, something like that, and like that. That's just gonna give us a little bit of glare, and it's gonna give us a better effect. Let's put it that way. All right, I'm pretty satisfied with this. Would like to add some background. Since these brushes are completely seamless, Fade and Shade is gonna help us add backgrounds without no noisy repetitions. So basically, go ahead and add our letter right there. Zoom in, just put it in the center. And now that we're here, you can just add a new pixel layer, put it down, and again, start playing around. Once we're done, we can just go to the adjustment palette and, you know, play around with it again. Maybe we can select the curves. Now it's applied. Now we want it a little bit more contrasted. Just play around with it until you're happy with it. Yeah, add your last touches to the piece. And that's our piece for today. Remember that you can grab all these brushes 50% off in Design Cuts. And also, if you have any questions, you can just go straight to our Instagram. The handles are ShoutBAM and Jimbo and Tea. just send us a mail, tag us in any platform, and we'll reshare it with our community. Thank you so much, and see you next time.